Normally when I do these reviews, I like to do them on the side, put myself in the shoes of the writing team and the creative team. And Vince McMahon, once it's already that Sunday, once you've already dug yourself in the deep hole with the shit roster you have and the shit storylines you have going into the show. So, when you hear me say something is as good as it could have been, that's with the mindset of, okay, we've already had shitty storylines leading up to it. We don't have a good roster by any stretch of the imagination. So what can we do to make this the least non-enjoyable show possible with what we already have planned? Survivor Series, SummerSlam, WrestleMania 33, as bad as 2017 was, I think the Big Four delivered in the spectrum of all the Big Four pay-per-views were as good as they could have been, considering how shitty they were going into the show. Alright? I actually didn't mind this show that much. I mean, yeah, there was that gloop in the middle of the show that I just had to skip over every match. It was so boring, so dreadful. But there were some bright spots that were just like, okay, that was decent, that was okay. That reminds me why maybe at some point they're going to get their shit together and actually put on a good show again. But for starters, with Survivor Series, oh wow, that was a good one. Let me start off with the commentary here, because this was an issue and it showed you right away. This 5-man commentary team was a fucking train wreck, okay? You have the worst commentator in the WWE today, and Corey Graves, representing both Raw and SmackDown. So he's flip-flopping all night, making me wonder, what the fuck is his purpose on commentary? When I look at someone like JBL, at the time when JBL was still on commentary, which, oh my god, do I wish that they would bring him back after hearing this fucking drollery that is Corey Graves' commentary. JBL, you'd understand what side he was on every single match. You would never have to wonder what's going on in the storyline, because not only that would you know where JBL stands, JBL would sell you the fucking storyline. When you have someone who is not choosing a side as a commentator, it is getting harder and harder to explain the storyline. So it gets to a point where Corey Graves is going out there just naming moves and saying, that was a great move by Sami Zayn, Michael. Wow, Michael, look at Kalisto do that backflip, Michael. And that's his exact delivery. It's not bad enough that this guy doesn't have a character, doesn't have anything going for him. He does not emote. And that is a big issue when you are a commentator. Your one job is to talk, is to get people interested in what you have to say. You're not even doing that right. Corey Graves is awful, and for God's sake, like I said, bring back JBL. Because JBL, you knew what was going on. JBL was funny, and JBL had something to him. Alright, and for all those people that are going to be like, oh, he's a bully, he doesn't deserve a job, they should have fired him. What are you, the fucking moral police all of a sudden? Like, dude, their real life personalities have nothing to do with what they do on TV. You guys are the same people, the ones that are saying JBL's a bully, he doesn't deserve a job, who think Chris Benoit should be in the Hall of Fame because he was a great wrestler. Put away what he did with his personal life. That has nothing to do with his wrestling. So, okay, so at that point it has nothing to do with your wrestling ability, but, you know, it has more to do with what you do on a TV show. But when JBL supposedly bullies Mauro Ranallo, but he's doing fine on commentary, he should be fired, he's a bully! Yeah, because in these people's minds, being a bully is a whole hell of a lot worse than committing double murder-suicide, but whatever, I digress. The first match was The Shield versus The New Day, so this is actually a decent opener. The problem here was, even though I actually enjoy both teams, this is an inherent problem with the WWE today, and an inherent problem with the small guy versus big guy demographic that I'll get into during the Lesnar versus AJ Styles match. I couldn't suspend my disbelief because I couldn't take this match seriously. I mean, you have a team like The Shield, right, who ran roughshod through the biggest names of the WWE as a team. They went on their individual singles career. One retired The Undertaker. One retired Sting. The other one's a former Money in the Bank WWE champion. And then you look at the other side of the ring and you have the New Day, who have been pretty much like comedic relief, winning tag titles with Kofi and Xavier, who were pretty much bona fide jobbers before the New Day banded. And they were actually dominating points of this match against that team who ran roughshod through the WWE. Now, before anyone says that, oh, well, the New Day's done well as a tag team, and they're long-reigning champions, think about their caliber of victories versus the caliber of victories that the Shield has. It's not even fucking close. And I'm already laughing at the retards. And tell me, well, wrestling is fake! But then they'll try to sell me on how Cesaro should be a main event talent because he's a good wrestler. Well, you people just don't understand how wrestling works, okay? When you watch wrestling, you're watching a TV show. On this TV show, you're looking at 3 guys in a team who have beaten the top guys, and not just any top guys, like the cream of the crop that this TV show has to offer. And then you look at the other side. This is like, say you were watching How I Met Your Mother, right? And the fucking Blitz, oh man, just all of a sudden becomes the main character, and the show just becomes about him, and Ted gets brushed off to the side, and then it's just not about Ted anymore. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't correlate because the two have different roles that they're supposed to play on the TV show. That is why this match, as much as I wanted to enjoy it, and as much as I thought it was maybe like a decent match, I couldn't enjoy it as much as I probably should have because I couldn't take it seriously. And I'm just going to say this right now. Chanting "You Still Suck" at Roman, but still singing along when he does the ooh ah, makes you look like the stupidest motherfuckers on the planet, alright? You're popping big when he hits the spear on Kofi, and go ahead and pretend that didn't happen. Go ahead and pretend that the Smarks didn't cheer along when Roman Reigns did the ooh-ah thing or pop big when he hit the spear on Kofi. If you want to pretend that, go ahead. But if you're an impartial person watching this video, go watch the footage. That's exactly what happened. The bottom line is, deep down, anyone can see the star in Roman Reigns. Smarks just decided to turn a blind eye to it. Alright. The Women's Survivor Series Classic match. This was actually, it was decent, again. I can see why they did this for Asuka, since they've been billing her as like the toughest thing ever. But can one of the retards that are going to comment on my video saying how I have no personality tell me what it is that is so special about Asuka? I mean, her parts in this match were decent, but I didn't see anything that jumped out at me that this woman is a fucking star. And while you're at it, tell me why this dominant 5'2" force has a thong outline on her outfit and her pants and paints her hair like Naomi. Like, is that a part of her character that's supposed to be this immovable object, but she's also fucking painting her hair lime green and having thong outlines every week? What's the point of that? What does that add to her character? And speaking of which, like, the main storyline they had going into this match was Becky Lynch versus Asuka. The whole showdown that Becky's gonna break her arm and Asuka's taking it personal. Let's just not do anything with that, you know? By the WWE's logic, let's just have Becky Lynch eliminated first on a roll-up by Bayley, and they're not even going to stare down with each other, whatever. But, again, like I said, I can see why they did it for Asuka since they've been billing her so fucking high. I just don't see what's so special about her. But I think, if anything, this should have been Nia Jax's Roman Reigns 2013 Survivor Series moment. I mean, Nia Jax, from a pure kayfabe standpoint, should have dominated everyone in the match. If she was going to be eliminated the way that she was, she should have been the last one eliminated instead of Sasha. But I understand, you know, I get where the WWE's coming from. If there was reports of her walking out were true, they want to punish her. That's fine. But the way that Nia Jax is one of those characters that I think you need in a division. Someone like a Big Show, someone like a Kane, someone like that's a big monster that you need someone to overcome. Now, maybe it's a good thing in disguise that they didn't do that because they would just have Asuka overcome Nia Jax. But to this point, Nia Jax is a fucking joke. At this point, she's no different than what Brodus Clay was in 2012, honestly. Aside from the fact that she's not dancing every week. She's just getting Alexa Bliss's ass slapped. But one thing I really laughed at in this match was the Nia Jax versus Tamina stare down. Like, dude, Tamina is dog shit. MTO and I have been saying this for years. I'm tired of fucking smarks coming into videos with Tamina and Lana on the WWE page talking about get rid of Lana. Tamina's too talented to be with her. When Lana is far and away not even a fucking discussion, not even debatable, a better superstar than Tamina could ever be, even if Tamina decided to fully embrace her manliness and becomes the first trans person character in the WWE. Whatever. Asuka's the sole survivor. That's the end of that match. Decent, I guess. I mean, nothing special. I don't see what's so special about Asuka. I don't see why these people mark out for her. But, I mean, she did get the loudest pop of the night. Maybe she'll do something in the next coming weeks that'll convince me otherwise. But if this is any indication of what she is, she's just another one of those overhyped, smarky people. Baron Corbin versus The Miz. Boring. Boring as fuck. Baron Corbin cannot do anything for him to entertain me. He's just a boring motherfucker. But I will admit, he was decent in the early going when he was talking shit to Maurice and like talking shit to the smarks in the front row. That was actually kind of funny. But at the end of the day, it was just another typical boring Baron Corbin match. The Miz didn't do anything special. Didn't watch a tag team match. Didn't care. All I know is that Sheamus looks like Kodak Black. If only he had Kodak Black's personality. This is actually one of those few matches that made sense. I mean, these have been the two strongest booked divas of the last 2 years on the main roster, and it's babyface versus heel. A dynamic, both of those dynamics were missing in damn near all of the fucking matches tonight. It would have made more sense, though, if Charlotte would have been representing Raw, and Alexa Bliss would have been representing SmackDown, since they both made their names on those brands and then recently got drafted this year. So it would have made more sense if they had more pride in the different brand as opposed to the one that they actually represented. But whatever. Can I just say, I've been praising Booker T's commentary. Fuck you, Booker T. You started talking about the World Series. It's too fucking soon, man. I'm still hurt over that. Fuck you, Booker T. Brock Lesnar versus AJ Styles. Now, I'm no fan of Jinder Mahal, despite what all the retards who have no idea what sarcasm is might think. But it was really retarded how they started to build toward Mahal versus Lesnar and then scrapped it last second like they did with like half the show here. Alright? It makes sense since I guess AJ Styles has been like the strongest booked guy on SmackDown against Brock, who's been the strongest booked guy on Raw. I'm just saying, it's pretty fucking dumb that you started to build towards Jinder Mahal versus Brock Lesnar, and then you scrapped it like 2 weeks after you started to build toward it. This reminds me of when they had like Bray Wyatt attack Lesnar at the Rumble, and then they just had Luke Harper job to Lesnar at Fastlane, and then Lesnar just faced Ambrose at WrestleMania. Like, that's what I think of this as. This is just like, holy shit, we came up with an idea, and it was shitty, so we're going to abandon it last second. Whatever. Styles is probably the only guy of the whole show that I can think of off the top of my head right now who should have pride in his brand. I mean, on Raw, he was a jobber. He was losing to Jericho. He was losing to Reigns. He was jobbing with the club. He did beat Cena, but he didn't beat him clean. Then he goes to SmackDown. He beat Cena clean. In the last 2 years, he's actually been one of the top guys on SmackDown and one of the strongest booked guys, not just on SmackDown, but in the WWE in general. So I said this earlier during the New Day versus the Shield match, and I'll say it again right here. I said I was going to allude back to this. In the beginning of this match, the standoff looked laughable between these two. Going back to the point I made earlier about not being able to suspend my disbelief in the match, like with the New Day and the Shield, because one was a comedy gimmick and the other one was running roughshod through the WWE. Despite the fact that I like both people in the match. The good thing is, though, the match was booked exactly the way it should have been. Styles, by no stretch of the imagination, could believably be in complete control of this match, the way that Smarks probably wants someone like Balor to do with Lesnar. The issue that I have with that match, which, by the way, thank God, I read something earlier that said Vince McMahon is not going to do that match. thank God that they're not going to do that fucking match. Because look, if this is how Lesnar fights against someone like AJ, what do you think he'd do in a match against Balor, who is not only smaller than AJ, but when you think about the characters in the match, Balor's supposed to be this scary demon, so he can't be thrown around like that in terms of if you're watching this thinking that it's real. But Balor beat AJ though. This is why you can't come at me with the argument of telling me wrestling is fake, because you'll tell me bullshit like that to try and back up your claims when it has absolutely no sense and no purpose to be in this argument. If Finn Balor, someone whose character is that he's a demon, he's supposed to be this scary guy, people are supposed to be afraid of him, can you tell me why Brock Lesnar, someone who ragdolls the Big Show, someone who throws the Big Show around like he's a fucking pillow, who fucking F5s Mark Henry like he's Rey Mysterio, should be afraid of this little fucking twink like Balor? You can't do this match with Lesnar because their styles just wouldn't fit. Alright, with AJ Styles, you can actually do this underdog shit because he doesn't have a character where he's supposed to dominate and people are supposed to be afraid of him. You people are fucking stupid. Alright? And talking about this match, watching this, and I like AJ Styles as a wrestler, so this isn't really a knock on him, and I like AJ Styles. But the whole time I'm thinking, okay, when AJ Styles is mounting his flurry, mounting his comeback, doing this, doing that, doing the phenomenal forearm, doing the 450, I'm thinking, wow, imagine if he could hit the Styles Clash on Brock Lesnar. Maybe that's one of the things that he could have resorted to in the match to try and win. This is where the problem lies with having the smaller guys fighting the bigger guys in the main event. Styles is a talented wrestler who isn't able to physically hit his main move on someone the size of Lesnar. The problem isn't the fans who prefer the bigger superstars, because it adds to suspending disbelief. The problem lies when you want both worlds to collide. The problem lies when it's not because we like bigger wrestlers means we automatically hate small wrestlers. These smarks make these fucking allegations, and they make this mistake of thinking that we don't like small guys just because we like big guys. And because we say they shouldn't be facing the big guys. No, the real problem with that is when you watch a match like this, AJ Styles can't physically do all of his moves on Brock Lesnar. That takes away from AJ Styles. That takes away from the match. That is why both worlds should not collide. And that's when they're going to come at me with, oh, well then maybe they should stop pushing the big guys and just keep pushing the midgets. That'd be fine if a guy like Sami Zayn could draw as much as Lesnar and could fucking keep the attention of the crowd like Brock Lesnar does. But you want to know what the problem with that is? He can't. And he never will be able to. The main event. Okay. The Survivor Series Classic. Brock Lesnar won, by the way, which he should have. It was a fine match. I don't think it was anything memorable. I think it was decent. It started out well. He ragdolled him like he should have. It was fine. It was what it was. It was fine. Survivor Series Classic main event. I think it's pretty funny how no one cried about Triple H taking the spot of one of the young guys because it was Jason Jordan. Oh, well, Jason Jordan sucks. Right, so because you don't like this guy that Triple H supposedly stole the spot from, that makes it okay. But if it had been Balor that Triple H stole the spot from, you'd be crying your fucking eyes out in the video. Which, by the way, Balor and Jason Jordan, in terms of skills, are virtually the same. They're both great wrestlers who are awful on the mic and struggling with character. And have just come off some of the worst storylines we've ever seen. Balor with Bray Wyatt and Jason Jordan with the whole Kurt Angle thing. So tell me again how it makes sense to hate someone like Jason Jordan, but like Finn Balor, or like Chad Gable for that matter. He had a bad storyline. Okay, bringing that back up. Nakamura just had one of the worst feuds I've ever seen with Jinder Mahal and had absolutely nothing to it and was badly exposed on how he shouldn't be a main eventer. But no one's calling for his head or booing him out of arenas. It's fucking ridiculous. And I don't even, again, another misconception that these people have is that you like Jason Jordan, you're a faggot, you take everything the WWE feeds you. Fuck you. Jason Jordan fucking blows. My point is, you have no reason to hate Jason Jordan. I do, because it remains consistent with my opinions on who I hate and who I don't hate in the WWE. Jason Jordan is dog shit on the mic. He's one of those good wrestlers, and he doesn't have a character. That goes with the people that I hate. That's why I hate Jason Jordan. Why do you hate Jason Jordan? Because he sucks on the mic? Then why do you like Balor and why do you like Sami Zayn? Sami Zayn, you would think after this heel turn might do a little bit better, because sometimes heel turns will rejuvenate your mic skills. Going on to Sami Zayn right now. He is still dog shit, and he always will be dog shit. Anyway, for those that are crying about Triple H stealing a spot, Triple H was actually needed in this match because Raw's team, from a kayfabe standpoint, looked laughable before the addition of Triple H. When they got down to just Shane McMahon, they made this like Shane's karma for attacking Raw, and I actually like that. Finally, they're actually telling you what's going on commentary, and there's real wrestlers in the ring selling it. I actually enjoyed that they're adding something to a match aside from that this is going to be a great match. This is what happens when you have good wrestlers in the match. You had Shane, Triple H, Kurt Angle, and Braun Strowman there. These are guys that are good. You had 3 legends in there and Triple H in there as well. You have Braun Strowman in there as well. When you have real wrestlers like that, you can actually play up to a story. When there's actual characters in the match, you can actually play up to a story. So you know what? Maybe I was wrong in burying the commentators for not doing that. Maybe it's just the fact that they have nothing to work with as to why they don't play up to any of the storylines and any of the characters going on in the match. Maybe that's why. It's because they have nothing to go off of. And once they did, like they did at this point in the match, they actually did a decent job. Imagine that. Shane McMahon, I think he's always played the role of the comeback underdog well. Unlike the smarky guys, unlike the guys that smarks will try to sell you on that, like Sami Zayn, like Sami Zayn is supposed to be, I guess his character before he turned heel and now he's just the mean guy, was that he was an underdog. The reason that doesn't work for Sami, but it works for Shane, but it worked for AJ Styles in the last match, because there's more to them than they're just underdogs, which is why way more fans give a shit about Shane McMahon than will ever give a shit about Sami Zayn, because there is more to get behind. There is more to his character than just the fact that he's an underdog. All right, when you're watching sports, you're watching the Super Bowl last year, right? You're watching the Falcons against the Patriots before the Falcons choked the fucking game away. I'm still pissed off about that. And you're watching the Falcons play. And you're like, wow, I really want these guys to win. It got to a point where you weren't just cheering them because they were beating the heavily favored Patriots. You were cheering them because they were doing it in a way that you had never seen before. They were doing it in their own special kind of way. Their high-flying offense was doing good. Their young defense was doing good. And stuff like that. And in the process, we're playing the role of the underdog, beating this big, tough conglomerate in the New England Patriots. That is why people get behind underdog storylines. This perception that, all you have to do is build them as the underdog and people will get behind them. That does not work. It does not work on its own. There has to be more to it. That's why Sami Zayn fucking blows. Because there's nothing else to him. Now he's a mean guy who cuts garbage promos on SmackDown with boring-ass Kevin Owens. Anyway, back to the match with the real wrestlers. Speaking of real wrestlers, that finish was exactly evident. It was evident. It fucking became crystal clear on the difference between a real wrestler and the bullshit we have now. Triple H's nickname, the Cerebral Assassin, as well as the guy who likes to bury people in the Smarkland, reigns supreme at the end of this match. Triple H is such a good fucking wrestler that he had a finish. We had a finish to a match where legitimately everyone had a reason to boo the heel. That is, by and large, what a heel's job is. That is why Triple H is such a great fucking wrestler. Because from a neutral perspective, okay, again, going back to guys with character, who are real wrestlers, Triple H has always been kind of the smarter guy in the match. At the end of the match, Triple H eliminated Kurt Angle by pedigreeing him and putting Shane on top of him. Then it looked like he was going to turn on Team Raw. And then he just fucking pedigrees Shane McMahon and wins the match anyway because he wanted to do it himself. That's how Michael Cole sold it. And at the end of the day, when you think about it, when you think about this, what you're watching on TV, from the Smarky perspective, they think they know the ins and outs of the business, they're thinking, wow, Triple H just wanted to bury everybody and put himself in the match. So that pissed them off. Then you have the casual perspective. When you look at it from their perspective, and you're watching this on TV, and you're like, wow, this guy's a vindictive asshole, and he just wanted to win himself. Wow, I really hate this fucking guy. This is why Triple H is one of the best wrestlers to ever fucking do it. He can have creative finishes like that, even now that the Smarks are trying to kill wrestling, and pretty much have succeeded in killing wrestling. Yeah, Triple H, again, going back to another point I made earlier about, how much I hate how shit in real life has nothing to do with what they do on the TV show. Triple H is fucking ruining wrestling by catering to smarks. But that doesn't change the fact that Triple H is still one of the best wrestlers to ever fucking do this, which is why I do not hate Triple H the wrestler. I hate Triple H the human being. Until he fucking fixes his errors, which I'm having hope that he can actually fix his errors, but whatever. Anyway, think about that for a second. When are you ever going to see something like that from a garbage, cookie-cut, generic heel like Sami Zayn? You're not. And before I was, you're looking too deep into it. You're overanalyzing it. This type of finish happens all the time. No. If you really think that a match ends like that, that's the thing. You don't have characters like Triple H anymore. And that's a problem. Because not only was it that Triple H outsmarted everybody in the match, even at the end of the match when he got attacked by Braun Strowman, most of the chicken shit heels nowadays would just run away like a bitch. Whereas Triple H actually tried to stand up for himself and fight Braun Strowman. Yeah, he got his ass kicked, but Triple H still went after Braun Strowman. That is a good thing. That is something that is missing from heels in the WWE nowadays. Whatever, man. It looks like they're building towards Strowman versus Triple H, which on the surface seems decent, but it's actually kind of random. I don't know. We'll see how it turns out. But overall, a lot of the stuff on here I said was decent, so I guess I would say it was a decent show. It's like I said, they did about as well as they could, just like they have in every Big Four pay-per-view. But that is a problem as well, because as a Big Four pay-per-view, if this is all you have to show for what your product is now, it's pretty sad. I mean, WWE was able to string together an okay show on the backs of a few part-timers and the 2-3-man factions that opened the show, and maybe like 2 or 3 of the regular guys. But more than ever, WWE continues to prove that deep down, they know that none of these guys, they know deep down that these guys that they are signing cannot carry the company in the long run. None of these guys can carry the company in the long run. Which begs the question why they're still catering to smarts and why they're still signing their boring jobber wrestlers who are clearly not capable of doing this on the big stage. And before anyone tries referring me to NXT, to ROH, to New Japan, or any of those jobber promotions, the main roster of the WWE is the biggest platform to showcase your abilities as a professional wrestler, and clearly the ones behind the national conglomerate that runs that big stage who know how to do wrestling better than anyone else, which is made evident by how much revenue they make and by how big they are and by how large they are, by how much they draw in money, by how much they draw in ratings. Those people do not believe that any of your guys are good enough to be able to carry the show. That's the bottom line. At the end of the day, that's what we see on every Big Four pay-per-view. Aside from like SummerSlam last year when Finn Balor won the title, they're always relying on the part-timers, on the guys who carried wrestling before to carry them now. That should be evidence enough to you people that they don't believe in your guys. And that your guys cannot do it on the big stage. That is their consensus. And before you tell me, oh, well, Vince's out of touch, wait till Triple H takes over. All right, let's see what happens then. Let's see what happens if Triple H takes over and shit like that. Let's see if Triple H knows more about the business than Vince McMahon does. Because ever since Triple H started to take over, yeah, you can tell me, okay, the revenue has gotten bigger. Yeah, okay, Triple H is maybe he's selling more merchandise. Maybe he's not selling more tickets. That's for damn sure. The fucking attendance is down. The ratings are as low as they've ever been, and I'm sick of these rebuttals that they don't matter anymore. Everybody's ratings down. The NFL's ratings are down too. Yeah, don't compare the two. That's apples and oranges. There's still shows out there that draw in 7-point whatever ratings week in and week out. If Breaking Bad was still on TV, I can guarantee you that Walter White would be drawing a billion times more than Kevin Owens would at this very moment. And I think he still does. I can guarantee you that more people watch Breaking Bad on Netflix on Mondays than watch Raw on Mondays live. Or SmackDown on Tuesdays live. I forgot Kevin Owens is on SmackDown. Whatever. This has been The Other Guy with the Survivor Series 2017 review. I tried to do this on camera. My camera did cut off towards the end. That's why I kind of just went into audio. The battery died. It's currently charging, and I wanted to get this done faster, so I did it this way. Anyway, this has been The Other Guy. Catch you next time. Happy Halloween.